A new development now in a story that broke right as we were coming on the air about this new House Ethics Committee investigation just announced into the person you see on screen here, Congressman Madison Cawthorn, who just lost his primary election.
Cawthorn's office just responding to us. I'm going to read you a piece of it here. They're welcoming the opportunity to prove that Congressman Cawthorn committed no wrongdoing and that he was falsely accused by partisan adversaries for political gain. They reiterate the inquiry is a formality. Their office isn't deterred in the slightest from completing the job the Patriots of Western North Carolina sent us to Washington to accomplish. That job Cawthorn will be in for just a couple more months because, as you mentioned, he lost his primary election. So the House Ethics Committee today announcing that they have launched this investigation for a committee that's often shrouded in secrecy. This is probably the last thing we're going to hear from them until they complete their investigation, which could take several months. But Cawthorn doesn't have that much time left here. So we've seen all of these things kind of play out in the public sphere.
Madison Cawthorn had a chilling sentiment to share just after his defeat in the congressional primary that will take him out of office. "We have an enemy to defeat," he wrote, "but we will never be able to defeat them until we defeat the cowardly and weak members of our own party. Their days are numbered. We are coming. The time for Gentile politics as usual has come to an end. It's time for the rise of the new right. It's time for dark Magga." The House Ethics Committee has just announced an investigation into Cawthorn despite his loss in a unanimous vote centered on only two of his many missteps. The first is a complaint filed by an anti-Cawthorn super PAC with the Office of Congressional Ethics, alleging Cawthorn provided housing, travel, and loans to a staffer, which they said was improperly disclosed. The staffer was Cawthorn's cousin, Stephen Smith, who accompanied Cawthorn on his honeymoon in Dubai, allegedly on the congressman's dime. The second thing the committee will be investigating is in response to a report that suggested that Cawthorn may have violated insider trading laws by promoting a cryptocurrency called Let's Go Brandon. Cawthorn insists that both claims are ridiculous, and to be fair, Cawthorn is so downright stupid and self-admittedly wanted to use his time in office not to get anything done, but to be a troll, that I'm not surprised he had no idea that there were rules in Congress. But now, finally, that lax approach is kicking him in the butt. As we all know, Cawthorn's political career has probably had the most amount of public scandals in history for its short tenure. He was elected to Congress in 2021, and as the New Republic writes, quote, "He spent the 3 years that made up the period between the start of his congressional campaign and his defeat on Tuesday, leapfrogging from one tawdry debacle to the next." But things got especially problematic for him when he started lashing out against his own party, saying on a podcast that Republicans had offered him cocaine and invited him to orgies. It's incredibly interesting that for the past few years, we've had no idea where the line for GOP degeneracy was, with each new scandal leading them farther and farther down a road of complete moral vacuousness. But finally, we know where they draw the line. But we shouldn't be too relieved with his ousting and this subsequent investigation. A New Republic article goes on to rightfully articulate that there are going to be more Madison Cawthorns. This type of spectacle politician, these culture warriors with half a brain and more interest in Twitter than policy, are going to start emerging more and more and more, and just because the GOP wouldn't tolerate this one doesn't mean that in the future they won't, or that they'll have a chance or not. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at Caro Johnson 917.